Hello, and welcome to Eilat. Yeah, I'm in a different studio tonight, eh, far, far away from Jerusalem, which is ironic because it is Jerusalem Day, and it's usually a day where I am covering what's going on in Jerusalem. And today I missed the madness. But anyway, hello, good evening. I am Nicole Johnson, usually coming to you from Jerusalem, but we've changed the setting, and I am in some sweltering city on the Red Sea right now. And despite the fact that I'm here with there's this whole dance competition going on, and I'm at some hotel down here. My daughter has a competition tomorrow, but there's enough news going on that I mean, the day should not pass that we do not talk about what has happened in the last couple of days and what we've learned in just in the last 24 hours. Just a series of news bits that have come out, including somebody in the government announces that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu went to the United Arab Emirates during the war. During the war with Iran, like he flew there. Do you know where the UAE is in um, like in reference to Iran? It is like right across the famous Strait of Hormuz, and it like in the line of fire. The UAE got like 80% of Iranian missiles and weapons and drones that were fired. Like every of all that Iran fired, 80% was at the UAE. And yet Netanyahu's government announces yesterday, I don't think it was leaked. I think it was like an announcement that he went there during the war. He went to the UAE. Now, it if this is true, because by the way, the UAE completely denies it. They said no, 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 we did not host Netanyahu. But there's reports coming out that no, he met the crown prince himself, that he was led into the palace, in a certain way, whatever. It was a secret trip. Obviously, it was a secret trip, but at the at the time, he was, but the fact that he was there, or he says he was there, and then the UA says no. So first of all, it was like in the line of fire. Secondly, the it if he was there, it does explain why the Emirates have been since the war very much speaking out against Iran and condemning what happened and how they were attacked, and also saying things like, well, now we understand like who our friends are and who our real allies are. And of course, it was like, they're leaning now more toward the West, more toward Israel. And so things like that are dangerous in that neighborhood. What how Iran has responded is they have said, yeah, that's your choice, really? Because wait till the U.S. leaves, then they were actually wrote on a missile, Habibi, it's just us, and it's just me and you after this. So what though? Now here's another thing. Because Netanyahu says that he went to the UAE, and then the UAE says no, 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 he didn't. But that actually could just really damage relations, and it's not the first time it happened, but it could really damage relations. This is alive. Do you need something from the store? I do not. Yes, you do. You have recruited Rita? No, oh no, it's Sonia. Okay, all right. Yeah. I mean Sophia. Yeah. All right. Go ahead. I'm on a live, guys. You want to say hi? Hi. Hi. I don't know. Raya, did you want to say hi? Hi. Where? YouTube. It's everywhere. Yo. Yeah, yeah. No, nah, I'm not. Mom, but thank you. What? You need from the store. I need nothing. You don't have to buy anything. I have fine. Cash left. Don't use it. No, you need it. You need it to last you all weekend. I don't need it to last. Yes, you do, because you have no more money after that. Gosh. Forget the UAE. What's happening here? 10:15. 10:30. 10 וחצי. Sophie. לא, זה לא מוקדם. You guys want to argue with this one here? You want to argue with this one? She's arguing with me. She wants to stay out till 11. I'm telling them they have the dance competition tomorrow. We're in Eilat, and we'll be there tomorrow. And you could go out tomorrow when you have a competition the next day. Oh my gosh. All right. No. 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 Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Oh. All right. 10:30. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to argue with Noya. I just lost all my viewers. Okay. So anyway, so why this is important and why this matters is because that it puts the UAE in a really bad position now, because if they had the Israeli prime minister, like the prime minister, if he went there, and now they're saying this, it basically just destroys their credibility out there in the Arab world, that they hosted. They clearly weren't ready to announce that or to own it. So that's why it could damage the relations. And this is the second time. I don't remember what the first incident was, but it was something. Oh yes, Netanyahu didn't go to the UAE the couple times that he said he was going to. It got canceled for various reasons. His trip got canceled, I think, more than once. So anyway, so this makes things complicated, or it makes it complicated for the UAE. Israel doesn't actually affect Israel. In fact, it looks good for Israel, in some ways, that if the prime minister did go there. So anyway, now regarding the ceasefire, there is talk in the Israeli media, and I can't say that it is how validated it is. There is a lot of warmongering going on, saying that as soon as President Trump is back from his trip to China, that they're going to renew the war. And so there's stories in the news now, and it's also like a little bit based on the defense minister saying, like, we're ready to go back, we're planning to go back to war. But there's a lot of talk that Israel is expecting, Israeli officials are expecting and preparing for a resumption of the war after Trump's trip to China. So that is currently ginned up. Oh, it's all in the media right now. Uh, some other stories briefly is just that for Jerusalem Day, which was today, it's a celebration for Israelis of the reunification of Jerusalem, or the unification of Jerusalem. It was a divided city. It was like partitioned to Jordan and to Israel, between 1948 to 1967, and then after the 6 Day War in 667. Anyway, it went under Israeli control. So the unification of Jerusalem, and so this is the day it's celebrated. Now, it has become in recent years co-opted by those who want all of the land of Israel under Israeli rules. So that would include the West Bank, Gaza, any Palestinian territories. And it's become extremely nationalistic, but in a racist sense. So there are obviously people just celebrating because they want to. This is their holiday as Israelis, but there are also many who use it as a day to call for different things, like, for instance, death to Arabs. And the other thing that they say is, we will burn your villages. So there is a lot of that goes on as they march through the old city. Now, in order to prevent clashes between the Israelis that are marching through and making these saying these chants, the police usually either keep the Arabs out of the old city. Now they're locals, like these people that live there, work there, whatever. They actually like close down as much as possible. They've done this in years past. I'm not in Jerusalem today. I don't know what they did today, but they close it down so as to prevent clashes. But today, there is one video that has gone viral of clashes in the Christian border. So I can't show it right now because I'm using my cell phone. But anyway, you can see it's getting loud out here. It's about to get louder. Last but not least, Israel has decided they're going to sue the New York Times for an article that was just published that they say is full of lies and was not fact checked, about systematic sexual abuse of Palestinian prisoners. So I'm not going to get into the whole story. You should go find the story written in the New York Times and then find the rebuttals. It is just crazy. But here's the other crazy thing about the timing of it. Now, that is getting all the attention. And what's not getting the attention is an Israeli report, a very in depth report about sexual violence and sex used as a weapon or weaponized during the October 7th attacks, and then and then against hostages in captivity in Gaza. So one day you've got the New York Times report accusing Israelis of using rape and sexual torture in their prisons against Palestinian prisoners. And the next day, the Israeli report comes out talking about how Hamas used rape as a weapon against Israelis on October 7th, and then continuing against the ones in captivity. So just really heavy and dark news in these last couple days. And last but not least, will tell you that in Washington, the leaders or representatives of Lebanon and Israel were both hosted uh, by um, uh, by by the State Department in the U.S. and they're continuing normalization talks there to with both Israel and Lebanon coming to the table to discuss a possible peace agreement. But it's not imminent. Let's put it that way. It's not yet imminent because there's still the issue of the non-ceasefire that is a quote unquote ceasefire going on in southern Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah. Today has one of Hezbollah's very crude FPV drones uh, exploded. Another one, I don't know if it was that kind or an actual, like a high tech drone, got into Israeli territory and injured three people, one critically. So that the fact that their drones are now crossing over into Israeli territory, of course, Israel's saying, oh, they violated the ceasefire. But Lebanon's and Hezbollah has been saying, well, Israel's been violating the ceasefire every day of the ceasefire because they are in southern Lebanon, entrenched, and they're continuing to, control and like take over villages that have been evacuated, and raising them, and going after the weapons caches there, and so and of course like targeted assassinations or targeted killings of Hezbollah operatives all the way up to Beirut. So that fighting never really stopped. It just sort of contained it became contained more to southern Lebanon, as opposed to like extending into northern Israel. And then there was one attack in Beirut, but for the most part it's concentrated there, like around the Litani River, south of the Litani River, and a little bit north of there as well. So Lebanon is saying that they want an actual ceasefire before they will agree to any kind of deal. But Israel probably would not agree to that. So it's still far. It's not necessarily going to happen overnight. This normalization between Israel and Lebanon, and it could still be thwarted entirely because of what's happening, the continued fighting between Hezbollah and Israel. So anyway, the news of the last 2 days, a whirlwind of activity, and yet we still wait to find out if it's going to result in some kind of renewal of war. I don't know what Trump and the president of China are talking about over there. They both agreed that Iran should not have nuclear weapons, but is Trump getting China on his side against Iran? Very interesting. So we'll find out in the coming days, most likely. Anyway, thank you for joining. And again, welcome to Eilat. We are on the Red Sea, and it's really hot here. All right, thank you for joining. I'll see you. Ciao.